Welcome back to Steer Wrestling 101. In this segment, we're going to talk about the finish. Now, here's the thing about the finish, and I want you guys to understand, you can slide a steer, you can catch a steer and do all that stuff, but if you really can't finish a steer and clean him up, that's where your time's actually going to end. And you'll watch our guys, they've got a reputation right now for the finish. Also, we put together a bunch of segments from different schools so that you can see a lot of different things. I think Oakberry's on one of these segments, and so I wanted you to get the feel of from the old school to now. We've changed things a good bit in the way we do throw steers, and it's more of a using our core strength, how you take the steer's nose, all the things that really takes and finishes these cattle right. I think that's one of the things that old steer wrestlers that come here that haven't ever been to our school, that's one of the things they appreciate most is how we've kind of matured and brought the style to a different place. K.C. Jones beat him like a drum at the 10-man at Chakotay, Oklahoma. Used big steers. They had big steers. In the day, they had big steers. And what those big guys were doing, and I mean, I'm going to include a bunch of them big guys in this, okay? They were going here, they were catching them, they were sliding them, they were pulling them right here, stopping them, basically stopping them, waiting for them to come all the way around, and then they'd milk them over. That's all they could do with them. None of them were hitting. K.C. Jones, much smaller guy. K.C. was built about whose size here is K.C.? He's a little bigger than you, but a little bit. At that point, he wasn't a whole lot bigger than Sal. He's like this, and this is the way Sal bulldogs too. About Will size. He'd go like this right here. Yeah. He'd go like this right here. Stay down in there. You'd never see him come up. You'd never see them cattle would come right over. Big old cattle coming right over that right shoulder, and he was going poof, and they were going whop. Every one of them.
You know, and a big reason why I came down here and I bought into what Tom is trying to tell you guys. That's how we bulldog back in the old days, and we was taught that. Lift, bring them all the way around. I used to step back with that foot. I was tall.
I did too.
Seen some of you guys on that fence, some of you taller, longer-legged guys. It's tougher than some of you shorter guys. But once you find that balance, and it's going to be harder for you to find it, but once you find it, and like I said, you stay down in there, you drive them hips, you go for that nose right here, that steer hits here. If that steer's hitting here compared to over there, which one's faster? That's way faster. But like I said, the old style, we did that, you come around, you stood up, you took all the power off your legs, you give that steer every bit of power back, you let him come all the way around you, and then you hooked him over here. And I think that's why they called it steer wrestling, because we had to wrestle them quite a bit longer.
Yeah, and look, it's how you learn it. You know, a lot of you don't know the difference. It's how you learn it. You know, I get so tired of guys telling me that they want to cut their slide. They want to reduce their slide. I don't want you to slide one from here to there if it doesn't necessary. That doesn't matter. It don't matter if you slide it from there to there if you're not finishing right. It makes no difference. Mike said, make it a damn point to make sure that they understand they're going through the horns, not pulling the horns. If you're not going through the horns, and what he's talking about is getting them cattle back in your stance and getting over them, driving. You're driving through cattle.
Tom can slide
Most people pull like this. That's not driving through them. You're behind the horns. We want you in front of them.
You can slide a steer from where he's at to the outer edge of you guys there and throw him, like he's saying, you threw them horns out of the slide. You can throw that steer quicker on a stopwatch than I can sliding to this mark right here and getting to that mark and pulling. Sliding.
We're focused. We're going down the pin. We're taking the steer somewhere. We're going down the pin. And the first thing that moves is this right here. Okay? We're going our chin, head down. Here's what most of the old bulldoggers will do, or old style. You know, that we used to teach it like that. Just get a hold to the horns. We'd say that. See what it did? I'm out here. I'm away from Look, I've give up all my core strength now. I'm using arm strength. So we chase that nose. Now, the way we teach it is here, 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 here. Watch what's happening. Down, 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 down. My hand hadn't even moved. My shoulder's going to the nose. A lot of difference. I'm taking my core strength and I'm putting it on that nose. You talk about really waxing cattle. You get all your strength out there, because look, the last thing, I don't know where that nose is going to be. I kind of feel it, but I don't know where it's at exactly. I take it right here. I'm right here. And look how tight I am right here. And I push off. I'm taking that steer and I'm going here. You see how many bulldogs you see go back to their steer? She didn't hear that again. But they go back to their steer. They'll slide a steer real good, and then they go, boom. And that's what they do. And look, they've taken out, if you take a steer, it's just like you take that steer's neck and you do this with it. You do this with it. You pull it, take his head and you go, his nose and go out. Then he's going to hit. You're taking that spine and you're doing this. Okay? And that's what makes them really do this. If you take it and you just run it back to them, you just wad them up and they roll. It's not much fun. And it's real slow, isn't it? And he loves to see them enter. They love to see them enter that do that, because you can beat them every time. Okay? When your steers are doing this, and where's Gene Pine at? Where's Gene Pine? Is he still out here? He's PRCA judge. And Gene will tell you, they start looking for the guys that make them clear them out. And they're like this, bam. Because they know that steer's fixing to hit. And the guy's got reputation, so they'll get real quick with that flag, you know, when that steer goes boom, and they're expecting it. And you'll get some good flags out of it in that right case. Yes, sir. So, let's work on this now. We're fixing to work on getting the nose. Pinch your shoulders, getting your stance, rock back, down the pin, right shoulder forward, head down, head down, head down, get the nose, tweak. The most important part when you're throwing them and when you're trying to get that fall out of them is to feel their back end, not their front. That's when you really know that you really become a sure enough bulldog. Because look, all this sliding up here and just holding the horns and all this stuff is great. But when you can take control of his back end, and look, this is your control right here, but it controls what? All the way through that spine of that steer. So you want to make sure that you're controlling that. He can be bucking all and doing all kind of stuff back here in the back, as long as you're controlling up here and you feel that. Then when he breaks over your shoulder, it's going to get real light. It's like you're not holding nothing. The steer gets real light. And then he comes right back into your bread basket and boom, pull out. It's not rocket science, and we're not asking you to do anything different. Once you get into your slide, the only thing you're really doing is just driving heel. The rest of it's up to the steer. You know, we've tweaked him, we've put him right here, we're over him right here, and this is where he's at. We're driving our hips, we're driving the steer back, and then we're waiting for the steer. If he's a 4-second steer, we're going to be 4 seconds on him. If he's a 6-second steer, we're going to be 6 seconds on him. We're not going to break down mentally and break down our style for any certain steer. Now we may try to put a little more on the gas pedal, cut our slide down. We may tweak him a little bit more right here. We may move him over just a little bit more if he's a little stouter. If he comes over you real fast, we may hold him up a little more. We may help him. If he's a little weak steer, we may help him right here, make him come over a corner, round our back. But all this stuff that we do is controlling that back end of the steer. Okay? I know what y'all want to do. You want to get a hold of those horns, but we want to control the steer, and that's going to be your biggest feat here, is learning how to do that. If I do this, I'm sliding, I'm driving my hips back, I go to the nose, everything works, right? If I do this and I pull, where are my legs? No legs. I give up my power. Now I'm bulldogging with what? No core strength,
pretty easy to
Just
watch.
arms.
Pretty easy to watch. Do it the first way you did the
Okay.
first way.
Right here, right here, right here.
Pretty easy to watch, guys, where that steer's body is compared to his head. All right, it's right here.
Yeah.
He hooks the nose.
Right here and
That
here.
steer's going to hit his ass end right here. Okay, do the other way.
Right here.
You hit and you pull. Where's that steer's ass now?
He's already where he's supposed to hit.
He's
and
right
got his
here
nose.
right now, and he hasn't hooked the nose yet.
No. And look.
Time he hooks the nose and puts a twist in him, that steer's still got to move here before he can fall.
Yeah, he's got to come all the way around because I got to wait on him now. And guess what I'm going to have when I put it on him? This right here, and I'm going to pull. Big guys want to bull off big. They want to jerk and pull, right? The only other big habit I see is they'll do this right here, get the steer like you're supposed to be, and try to go up under it. They'll try to go under that left horn. When you try to go up under that left horn, watch what my legs do and watch what my hip does. That's not what I'm telling you to do, right? It's this, go over that left horn, get the nose and pull. Always over that left horn. If you take that shortcuts, you end up giving up your legs, giving up your hips, and you got no power. Does that make sense? And I'm telling you this, and I'm pretty adamant about it, because if you don't buy into it and you don't commit to it, you'll never commit to it. If you don't commit to it, you'll just be one of those 90%ers. Learn it, figure it out, learn it, and get the little inches that we're trying to tell you. Because when I roll your hips back, look, what make the difference between being a world champion, and he's a champion now, but a world champion, and wearing that buckle right there may be this far, this much, this inch right here, that would have took that steer where he needs to be. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed the segment on the finish. This is the end of one of the series that we put together for Steer Wrestling 101. You know, we spent a lot of time doing this. I thank Rob and I thank some of the other guys that helped us put this thing together. We're constantly learning. Just use bits and pieces of this as you can to improve your steer wrestling, and hopefully one day we'll get together and you can tell me if you got some good out of it or not, and we'll keep on improving and you teach us something.